Hello and welcome to Manga Tora 96, and today we're going to talk about Toaru Majutsu no Indeks. Today's topic will be a god who has literally reshaped the world to her liking many times, where after realizing that the problem wasn't with the world but rather that she only wanted someone who would understand her, this started her desperate attempt to try to return to the original world and giving her godhood in exchange. I'm of course talking about Othinus. But before we start, here's the spoiler warning, as I'll be spoiling a lot of things in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would highly recommend that you go and read the light novel, as it is an enjoyable read. For everyone else, let's start with who Othinus is. Othinus is a magic god and was the leader of Gremlin. After subjecting Toma to much suffering, the both of them later come into a mutual understanding of each other's situations, which later allows for Toma to save her from the destruction that was eating her body. She later became 15 centimeters in size, with much of her former power gone, virtually harmless, after Toma saves her from killing herself after she believes she didn't deserve to be saved. Initially, Othinus was depicted as a ruthless and cold-hearted individual who will utilize any means necessary to achieve her goals, regardlessly of how much destruction and suffering they bring to others. She has no qualms about threatening or harming anyone who inconveniences her in the slightest way, be it an enemy or an ally. She is very cunning and manipulative, able to fool everyone that knew her that there was only one method in creating Gungnir. As her namesake Odin is also a god of betrayal, it is only fitting that she has no qualms in using and then casting aside her comrades to get what she wants. In the same breath, she was very easily angered when Olrios called her a lonely person and finds it frustrating when people she's trying to defeat continue to inconvenience her. Upon acquiring the lands of Gungnir, she declares her victory and immediately destroys the universe on a whim. Due to being able to create and destroy whatever she desires, she now paints the world as she desires it to be, such as erasing all forms of crime or pain from it simply to make it more appealing rather than for the sake of those living in it. She also seems to treat Toma's continued existence like an amusing game until he actually started to become an inconvenience to her. Othinus is also both afraid of Imagine Breaker and also afraid to get rid of it, as she is aware of the fact that she can transform the universe into any form she chooses, but would also easily end up losing her way back to the original version of it. Because of this, she was ultimately unable to kill Toma and resolved to break his will instead. She desired to return to the original world, which she had previously eliminated with her powers as a magic god. This left her with the fear of losing Imagine Breaker, which could be used as a reference point for that world. Through defeating Toma, however, Othinus comes to terms with her lost desire and realizes that she only wanted someone to understand her. She puts Toma in the same trapped situation as she was in hopes of gaining that someone. She ultimately decides to restore Toma's reality with Imagine Breaker's reference and resolve to die as an enemy of the world. After coming to an understanding with Toma and spending time alone with him to recover her lost eye in Denmark, she is shown to be quite open in humoring his personality. However, she doesn't suffer fools lightly and can be quite violent when annoyed by him too much, though this has no effect on Toma as he enjoys it. She acts serious and level-headed, making her the straight man to Toma's wise guy. Both Toma and Thor has noted that Othinus likes to explain things. As for her past, an unknown number of years and phases shifts ago, Othinus, though she may have a different name back then, became a magic god. To do this, she went to Denmark to the lake where Egskov Castle will one day stand, and sacrificed her right eye and threw it into the lake as a part of an enormous ritual, allowing her to obtain the body of a magic god. And thus, many tales from many cultures told about her power, though some would make her seem like an old man or a vicious god of war. The implication that she herself will deliberately take forms that would now be recorded in mythology. Othinus later used her power to change the world through shifting its phases. However, she later yearned for her original world, and despite the fact that she could have used Imagine Breaker to change the world back, her hesitation prevented her from doing so. for there was hope that she could make the world into her original world as she saw in her mind. Moreover, there was a hope for her that she could just bring the world into a new form through phase shifting and just settle there. Regardless, she suffered for it, and for countless phase shifts she was worn down by the suffering that she felt in each of them, something she would later visit upon Toma. Due to being worn down and the impairments of the world, she began looking for something that would not change. Specifically, she was looking for someone who can understand her, the only one seeming constant in the world. Though she didn't know what she wanted herself, that changing that world was but a means to an end. In the end, she settled in the current world and somehow relinquished her title as a magic god. During Toru's and Toma's battle at the end of the Ichihanara festival arc, Toru mentioned Othinus taking extreme measures to gain knowledge, such as pulling out one of her eyes and hanging herself on a tree. This refers to the steps Othinus took to become a magic god, likely referring to the time before she relinquished being a magic god after settling with the current world, as he mentions Othinus sacrificed her eye. The other is a reference to Odin hanging himself on the world tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and nights in order to learn the wisdom that will give him the power in the 9 worlds. Her unease later returned, however, taking back her title as a magic god, earning the anger of Olarius, forming an adversarial relationship with the man. In fact, Olarius would continuously claim that Othinus stole becoming a magic god from him. This relationship between them extended with his magic. The first implication of Othinus' existence in the series is when Olarius uses the queer magic, his clothes, upon Sugita. This magic of course is named after the high seat of Odin, which allows him to see into all realms. In the Gesta da Normo, Odin was exiled and Olarius was chosen to take his place. This can be presumed why Olarius currently has the Hill Shell. World War III will later spurn her into action even further as she forms Gremlin for the purpose of constructing the lands of Gungnir. As Othinus is a magic god in spite of her limitations, she is one of the most powerful beings in the Toaru Majutsu no Indeks storyline, and as demonstrated later, is able to reshape the world according to her will using the lands of Gungnir. As for her abilities, Othinus is a magic god, which makes her a perfect and pure magician that encompasses every possibility. Because of this, since it's every possibility, she has an equal chance of succeeding and failing, making her magic a 50-50 shot. The reason she seeks to craft and wield Gungnir is to control the probability of her success and failure, efficiently ridding herself of 50-50 restrictions, though it is later revealed that she can bypass that by completely failing as a magic god herself. To unify her infinite possibilities, she either needs to become 100% successful at becoming a magic god, hence the reason for the complete ritual of Gungnir, or 100% failure which has a hard time of acquiring. After becoming struck by Fiamma with the right turn into a fairy spell, she falls into 100% failure, allowing her to unify the possibilities and becoming a perfect magic god. Despite this, if she is successful in using her powers, she has shown to be extremely powerful. She is able to use pure strength to crush Toma's right hand, as well as the invisible thing that came forth to attack her with strength ease, rip out Olarius disguised as Thor's arm, digging into the neck of Kakine and choke him down, and force the dark matter made Hollister Esper girl to keep on performing its task. She, as well as Olarius, is able to create hundreds of millions of strange explosions. When Othinus and Olarius fought, the explosions were not strong for their own, but in such a great number they seemed like twisting the space and time. Both of them have not used a special move, a form of preparation, or a magical tool before they started this attack. Othinus can even deceive other senses. She used this to make Olarius believe he stabbed her with his turn in a fairy spell where she was unscathed. She has a certain form of immortality, as she is believed to have lived for thousands of years and possesses instantaneous regeneration power to the point where she claims having her body crumble is not enough to kill her. This goes to the extent where she could let one of the arrows fired by her crossbow go right through her body and completely heal a moment afterwards without any sign of pain or damage at all. Furthermore, as she is based on the god Odin, she has territory over the dead. which allows her to turn Bersi and the other humans into an Harrier, though the process is unknown. It is likely that she too is the one who created the artificial Valkyries that attacked Brunhilde. Gungnir is the spiritual item desired by the magic god Othinus in order for her to remake the world. It is the lance of the head Norse god whose sandal is made from wood of an ash tree, its sharp tip made of gold and personally carved runes that give it tremendous power. Apart from the fact that it grants the magic god 100% success, it is also used as a throwing weapon. It will always hit its target once thrown, could not be shot down or destroyed mid-flight. It would always return to its owner's hand once the target is pierced, and it is said that it could destroy the symbol of human power. Wielding Gungnir gives her the power to destroy the world, but in reality it is revealed that she isn't exactly destroying the world or anything. She creates new faces and places them over the world so that it will appear as if she had actually changed. Along with the world, she can also alter the point of view and memories of its inhabitants. Also, with the lens, she has a free control over the life and death of humans through her perfect version of any higher spell, but it can be apparently affected beings who are both dead and alive, like the will of the whole mystical network. After seeing Ulrich's perform the turn into a fairy spell, she is easily able to mimic Ulrich's invention and use it effectively against him, bringing a god like him into the realm of the fairies and being killable. She uses it successfully on Ulrich, destroying the interior of his body. Using the principle of the spell making her into a 100% failure, she is able to still use powerful magic if she does actions that are opposite of her initial impression. Indeed, despite the destruction of Gungnir, she was able to use her tremendous power in order to use the Imagine Breaker as a reference point to return to the world back to Thomas' original world. The cost of using the spell to make use of the 100% failure, however, is that it will wreak havoc on her body, giving her tremendous pain and suffering as well as make her slowly lose her powers as a magic god. Even the Imagine Breaker would not be able to amend its effects. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover on Othinus. And that will be all for this video. If you liked this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or subscribe to the channel for more manga reviews and One Piece content. And until next time, take care.